LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up trans rights. LGBTQ advocates prepare for campaign against Arizona sports ballot measure. LGBTQ advocacy groups in Arizona are mobilizing for a challenging campaign against a constitutional amendment referred to the state ballot concerning transgender student athletes. The measure, titled Protect Girls Sports in Arizona Act, would codify restrictions prohibiting transgender girls from competing on female athletic teams at public schools, community colleges, and state universities. Because the Republican-led legislature bypassed Governor Katie Hobbs by passing a ballot referral rather than a standard bill, the decision goes directly to Arizona voters. Advocacy coalitions, including Equality Arizona and the ACLU of Arizona, report the defeat of the measure will require extensive voter education, as constitutional ballot initiatives are difficult to reverse once passed. Proponents argue the measure is needed to preserve athletic fairness, while opponents warn it writes discrimination into the state constitution and further marginalizes transgender youth. I cannot overemphasize to viewers how important it is to make sure this is defeated. And I'm going to explain why. Because in my day job, we do ballot initiatives, and we've looked into Arizona. I've talked to the Progressive Ballot Institute about Arizona. It is one of the hardest states to do the signature process to do it on the ballot. So let's say we lost, and in 10 years we wanted to undo it. It's almost impossible, partly because, fun little random political side fact, if you do a ballot initiative without the legislature just doing it themselves like this, and you pay people to do your ballot for you, you have to keep them in the state capital, more or less, during any certification questions, which could be 2 to 3 months. You got to pay for people to live for months, basically, or all their signatures they do get thrown out. So this is essential to stop.
It's also it's also nothing new under the sun when you live a certain age, but that's how conservatives put anti-LGBTQ, anti-equal marriage measures in 2004 and 2008 and 2012 onto the state constitution to specifically ban LGBTQ marriage and other equal rights measures. They want to write it in the state constitution because they know that a constitutional amendment on the state level, even at the state level, is more difficult to reverse than a legislation. Congress can, state legislature, if it's a state legislation, if the House change hands, they can just reverse it. You can't do that for a constitutional amendment, which is why this is so bloody insidious.
Any thoughts before I give my last comment?
We certainly wish, anyone who's impacted by, this measure, the very best, and we hope that it works out for transgendered brothers and sisters. Young people shouldn't even be worrying about this. They should just be able to be kids. And if you identify as trans boy, trans girl, you're just starting out your life. I wish people could just let these people live their lives.
Exactly. And on the issue of the voters have defeated anti-trans stuff before. We can win. There is, if the voters of Cuba could pass LGBTQ rights, I think Americans can do the right thing. And that is an LGBTQ 1 Minute news story. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBT stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.